Barakatah Yahweh, Barakatah Yahabushai, Bahashom, Rakahak Wadash, Barakatum. First and foremost, I want to give all praises, glory, and infinite honors to Yahweh, Bahashom, Yahabushai. Double honors to the apostles and elders, a great millstone who rule and teach well. And peace and salutations to you sincere Akim out there, pushing this word in truth and sincerity to the four corners of the globe. May you brothers endure until the end. Shalom. This is the brother Ra'aya with another video, and in this video I'll be profiling an article on endoftheamericandream.com titled "Our Apocalyptic New Normal, Most Global Conflict Since World War II, Most Billion-Dollar Disasters Ever, and the Most Hungry People in History." And hey, this is a pretty action-packed article we're going to be going into, because it's just showing that these biblical prophecies in the scriptures, especially, during the last days, which you're currently living in, when Yahweh Bahashem Yahweh Shai is about to judge this planet and the people on it for all the wickedness they've been committing, are taking place as we speak. Hey, we truly are living in the last days, really the last seconds of the last days before the second coming of the Son of the Most High, whom the world ignorantly refers to as so-called Jesus, whose true name is Yahweh Shai, to save his elect, of the elect of the nation of Israel, the nation of Israel consisting of you so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans, as well as the Israelite foreigners who have come to look like these heathen nations, and also to put an end to the rulership of these heathens, chiefly the biblical Edomites, or the so-called white people, and then usher in the eternal kingdom of heaven. But before we get started, this is 2nd Esdras chapter 15 in the Apocrypha. I'm going to start at verse 5. "Behold, saith the Lord, I will bring upon the world," I will bring plagues upon the world. Listen closely. "The sword, famine, death, and destruction." What did the title of this article just read? Most global conflict since World War II. The sword, most billion-dollar disasters ever. The destruction, and most hungry people in history. Famine, death, destruction. Verse 6, "For wickedness hath exceedingly polluted the whole earth, and their hurtful works are fulfilled." This is the most wicked point in human history. Hey, it's worse than the times of Noah. It's worse than the times of Sodom and Gomorrah. Any time you can think of. So it's about to receive the worst judgments from Yahweh Bahashem Yahweh Shai. As it says in Jeremiah chapter 30 verse 7, "A time like no other, the times of Jacob's trouble." Verse 7, "Therefore, saith Yahweh, I will hold my tongue no more as touching their wickedness, which they profanely commit." Hence, while you're seeing like just one thing happening after another, it's getting so intense out here that even the average person is saying, can't we just catch a break? It's like ever since, the whole situation from 2019 to 2021, things have just gotten progressively worse, and it's going to continue to get progressively worse. We are just in the beginning of sorrows right now. "Neither will I suffer them in those things, in which they wickedly exercise themselves. Behold, the innocent and righteous blood crieth unto me, and the souls of the just complain continually," and which is what the hopeful elect are doing right now, sighing and crying unto Yahweh Bahashem Yahweh Shai for the evils being committed, and for Yahweh Bahashem Yahweh Shai to bring a speedy riddance to this place. And as it says, it's either in I think it's in Sirach, where it says, the cries of the humble pierceth the clouds, and they will not stop until the Most High accomplish, his work. Hey, the hopeful elect are constantly sighing and crying, hey, especially the men of the Lord out on the highways and byways preaching this word, as well as putting up video epistles like this online. And hey, clearly it is piercing the heavens and reaching the ears of the Most High. Hence, why you're seeing all these biblical prophecies begin to come to their fulfillment. "Behold, the innocent and righteous blood crieth unto me, and the souls of the just complain continually." But now let's get back to that article. Our world is witnessing apocalyptic events so frequently that many of us are starting to become numb to it all. Major wars are raging all over the globe. Children in Africa are literally dropping dead from starvation as hunger spreads like wildfire. And billion-dollar disasters are hitting us more frequently than we have ever seen before. But as long as these tragedies are not affecting us directly, most people don't really care too much. And he's referring to what? The United States of America, which, hey, this place is going to receive the worst of the judgments of Yahweh Bahasham Yahushai. This place, America, is the bedrock of wickedness, where all these different wicked ideologies and ways of life emanate from and are promoted from through America's foreign policy, its economics, politics, and its media like Hollywood and these different social media platforms. As the level of worldwide suffering rises, it seems as though hearts are getting colder at the same time. And that's also a part of biblical prophecy. This is Matthew chapter 24, verse 12. And because iniquity shall abound, and when you go into that word iniquity in the Strongs, it means, being in a state of lawlessness, which this world is in a complete state of lawlessness because the laws, statutes, and commandments of the scriptures aren't being, implemented. And that's the only right way to run life. So what? Everything is completely out of order. And then it's getting to the point where people aren't even following the laws of their own governments. And because iniquity shall abound, the love of many shall wax cold. And when we get that word cold in the Strongs, it's G5594, psycho. And you know what a psycho is? A psychopath. A person that doesn't give any regard to another person's, feelings or being, and they just do whatever they want. In the outline of biblical usage, to be made or grow cool or cold, metaphorically, of waning love. People just being overwhelmed and overstimulated by this American Babylonian beast lifestyle, overindulging in alcohol, indulging in drugs, sexual promiscuity, adultery, alternative lifestyles, etc., etc. So people are just completely burned out here. And with such a, the economic situation getting worse, prices of rent and food and gas going up. People are just concerned about their own well-being and, the well-being of their loved ones. So when they see somebody else going through it, they're just in that, better you than me attitude. The love of many waxing cold. As the level of worldwide suffering rises, it seems as though hearts are getting colder at the same time. The traumatic events of the past several years have left deep scars, and there are many that prefer to ignore the apocalyptic things that are happening in the world because it is just too much for them to handle emotionally. And again, we're just living in the beginning of sorrows. If you think things are bad now, well, you better buckle up. According to a brand new study, the number of armed conflicts in 2023 was the most that we have seen in a single year since the end of World War II. More armed conflicts took place worldwide in 2023 than any other year since the end of the Second World War, according to a Norwegian study published Monday. Last year saw 59 conflicts, of which 28 were in Africa. The Peace Research Institute of Oslo showed we really are living in a time of wars and rumors of wars, which, we're already in Matthew chapter 24. Let's get it. Matthew chapter 24, verse 6, and ye shall hear of wars and rumors of wars. We're hearing rumors of war between Russia and America, Russia and Europe. Wars between China, rumors of wars between China and Taiwan, between Israel and Iran, etc., etc., and literal wars like what we're reading about in that article, the war in Ukraine, etc., etc. See that ye be not troubled, for all these things must come to pass, but the end is not yet. For nation shall rise against nation, race wars out here, and kingdom against kingdom, these major countries going against each other, and there shall be famines, which we're going to get into in that article, and pestilences, which we're also going to get into, and earthquakes, which we're also going to get into in diverse places. All these are the beginning of sorrows, point blank, period. But since it isn't our sons and daughters that are being gunned down on the killing fields of eastern Ukraine, most of us in the Western world aren't really moved by all the bloodshed. Every single day, more young lives are being wasted. But if you think that things are bad now, just wait until Israel and Hezbollah start lobbing thousands of missiles back and forth. Hey, another rumor of war. China invades Taiwan, and the Russians and NATO begin directly pummeling one another. Meanwhile, global hunger just continues to grow. Famines. In fact, it is being reported that the number of people facing acute food insecurity last year was the highest level ever recorded. The number of people threatened by hunger in the world has never been so high. In 2023, 281 million people in 59 countries were facing acute food insecurity, according to the 2024 Global Report on Food Crises, published on Wednesday, April 24th, by several international organizations, including UN agencies, the European Union, the U.S. Agency for International Development. This figure is up on 2022, 257 million in its fifth year running. This global report on food crises is a roll call of human failings, warned UN Secretary General Antonio Guterres, prefacing the analysis. A decade ago, world leaders dreamed of a day when hunger would be eradicated. Today, that dream is completely dead. Right now, hunger is exploding in areas all over the continent of Africa. In Sudan, people are literally eating dirt and leaves just so that they can fill their stomachs with something. Time is running out to prevent starvation in Sudan, warns the World Food Program. 25 million people in Sudan need humanitarian assistance. 18 million are facing acute food insecurity, and 5 million people are at emergency levels approaching famine as the country's civil war passes the 1-year mark. Amid so many other crises, the world's largest hunger crisis is drawing little global attention, because the love of many is waxing cold. In the Al-Layt refugee camp, for example, people are eating dirt and boiling leaves just to have something in their bellies, reports Reuters. Others are eating grass and peanut shells, according to the World Food Program. Since it isn't happening to us just yet, most of us don't really care, but hunger is growing here too. According to one recent survey, over 1/4 of the entire U.S. population is now skipping meals due to crazy high food prices. And outside of that, what do you have? The avian sneeze killing off a lot of cows and chickens, and a lot of these food processing plants mysteriously catching fire and getting destroyed. More than 1/4 of Americans have resorted to skipping meals to avoid paying inflated grocery prices, according to a new survey. According to a study by Qualtrics on behalf of Intuit Credit Karma, 80% of Americans say they have felt a notable increase in grocery costs in recent years. More than 1/4 of respondents said the increased cost has led them to occasionally skip meals, while about 1/3 said they spend more than 60% of their monthly income on mandatory expenses such as food, utilities, and rent. Let's go to Revelation chapter 6. I'm going to start at verse 5. And this is dealing with the so-called four horsemen of the apocalypse, which are just symbolic for different events that would be taking place in the last days. And when he had opened the third seal, I heard the third beast say, "Come and see." And I beheld, and lo, a black horse, and he that sat on him had a pair of balances in his hand. And I heard a voice in the midst of the four beasts say, "A measure of wheat for a penny, and 3 measures of barley for a penny. And see thou hurt not the oil and the wine." And when we get that word penny in the Strongs, it's G1220, denarion. And in the outline of biblical usage, it reads, "A Roman silver coin in New Testament time. It took its name from it being equal to 10 asses, which was another Roman coin, originally made from bronze, and then they later made it out of copper." What does that sound like? Currency devaluation, which is exactly what's happening with the US dollar right now. With all this money printing, it's leading to what? The lowering of the value of the dollar, hence inflation. And America is Rome all over again. A Roman silver coin in New Testament times. It took its name from it being equal to 10 asses, a number after 217 BC increased to 16, about 3.898 grams or 0.1375 ounces. It was the principal silver coin of the Roman Empire. Think about the US dollar. From the parable of the laborers in the vineyard, it would seem that a denarius was then the ordinary pay for a day's wages, because in the ancient world and in the scriptures, in the law, a man was paid the very same day he worked. It's not like this wicked society today where, a lot of people are paid every 2 weeks or whatever. So looking at it like that, what is it saying? A measure of wheat for a penny, 3 measures of barley for a penny, using damn near your entire paycheck just to buy a limited amount of goods. And what did we just read? More than a quarter of respondents said the increased cost has led them to occasionally skip meals, while about 1/3 said they spend more than 60% of their monthly income on mandatory expenses such as food, utilities, and rent. A measure of wheat for a penny, 3 measures of barley for a penny. Food insecurity is a major issue in this country, as millions of Americans don't have enough food to eat or don't have access to healthy food. Courtney Alev, a consumer financial advocate at Credit Karma, said in a statement, "I keep warning my readers that this is just the beginning," and how right this guy is, "and I hope that they are taking me seriously. We are also living at a time when major natural disasters are becoming more frequent. Last year, our world was hit by more billion-dollar disasters than ever before. The planet was besieged by a record $63 billion disasters in 2023, surpassing the previous record of 57 set in 2020, said insurance broker Gallagher Re in its annual report issued January 17th. Unfortunately, we may top that number this year, Salakia. So far in 2024, there have already been $11 billion disasters in the United States alone. A deadly outbreak of tornadoes last month caused $4.7 billion in damages across the southern, southeastern, and central U.S., making it one of the costliest weather events of the year so far, the National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration said on Monday. The National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration said there had been 11 confirmed weather and climate disaster events so far this year, with losses exceeding $1 billion, with the total price tag topping $25 billion. There were more than 165 tornadoes during the May 6th to the 9th outbreak, impacting Oklahoma, Kansas, Nebraska, Michigan, Indiana, Ohio, Kentucky, Tennessee, Alabama, North Carolina, South Carolina, Georgia, and Florida, officials said. Let's go to Nahum chapter 1. I'm going to read verses 2 to 3. The Most High is jealous, and Yahweh revengeth. Yahweh revengeth and is furious. Yahweh will take vengeance on his adversaries, and he reserveth wrath for his enemies. Hey, I shall no more hold my tongue as concerning their wickedness. Back in 2nd Esdras chapter 15. Verse 3, Yahweh is slow to anger and great in power, and will not at all acquit the wicked. Yahweh hath his way in the whirlwind and in the storm, and the clouds are the dust of his feet. And when you go to whirlwind, which, I know most of you know what a whirlwind is, but, for the sake of edification, when you go to whirlwind in the Strongs, it's H5492, Sufa. And in the outline of biblical usage, it says a storm wind. And what is a tornado? A storm wind. We have already experienced so many historic disasters, and hurricane season and the heart of wildfire season are still ahead of us. Almost every day we are seeing things happen that we have never seen before. A time like no other. It is even the time of Jacob's trouble. For example, storm chasers in the middle of the country just recovered a piece of hail that was about the size of a pineapple. Val and Amy Castor, veteran storm chasers with Oklahoma City television station KWTV, discovered a piece of hail more than 7 inches, 17.78 centimeters long Sunday along the side of the road near Vigo Park while they were chasing a major thunderstorm system. Val Castor said the stone was about the size of a pineapple. That's the biggest hail I've ever seen, and I've been chasing storms for more than 30 years, Castor said. We aren't supposed to have hail of that size, but this is the new normal, where the old rules simply don't apply. Let's go to Isaiah 28 verse 2. Behold, the Lord hath a mighty and a strong one, which as a tempest of hail, now the size of pineapples, and a destroying storm, as a flood of mighty waters overflowing, shall cast down to the earth with the hand. The judgments of Yahweh Bahashem Yahweh Shai. In California, there has been an alarming series of earthquakes during the past couple of years. Back in Matthew 24 verse 7, and there shall be earthquakes in diverse places. First, a magnitude 3.6 earthquake in the Ojai Valley sent weak shaking from Santa Barbara to Los Angeles on May 31st. Then came 2 small quakes under the eastern LA neighborhood of El Sereno, the most powerful a 3.4. Finally, a trio of tremors hit the Costa Mesa Newport beach border, topping out at a magnitude 3.6 Thursday, having half a dozen earthquakes with a magnitude over 2.5 in a week, hitting 3 distinct parts of Southern California, all in highly populated areas, is not a common occurrence. The big one is coming eventually, but I don't think it is coming quite yet. Hopefully, I am not wrong about that. Other nations are getting pounded by natural disaster after natural disaster as well. Brazil has been getting hit particularly hard. Nightmarish flooding was making headlines down there for a while, but now wildfires are taking center stage. And remember what it said back in Isaiah 28, verse 2. And as a flood of mighty waters overflowing, Brazil, and which are Israelites, of the northern kingdom, of the tribe of Asher, getting hit by floods, and now getting hit by wildfires. This is Isaiah 29, verse 6. Thou shalt be visited of Yahweh of hosts with thunder and with earthquake, which we just read about, and great noise, with storm and tempest, and the flame of devouring fire, wildfires, and ultimately nuclear missiles, which are going to be shot to the ends of the earth during World War III. After historic floods recently claimed 172 lives in coastal Brazil, the country now faces a new crisis as fires rage through the Pantanal wetlands. These fires have surged nearly tenfold compared to the same period last year, setting the stage for a potential catastrophe worse than the devastating fires of 2020. With severe to extreme drought conditions expected, the situation is becoming increasingly dire. Data from the Brazilian Space Research Agency, National Institute for Space Research, reveals a staggering 980% jump in fires across the Pantanal wetlands this year through June 5th, compared to the same time frame in 2023. Speaking of Brazil, it is in the midst of the worst pestilence of dengue fever that has ever been recorded in that nation. Hey, the Most High is just hammering you Israelites down in Brazil. Hey, it's called Jacob's Trouble for a reason, because this is going to be the last time Yahweh Bahashem Yahweh Shai judges you tribes for the wickedness you've been committing. Brazil recorded the highest number of dengue cases globally in 2024, according to new data from the World Health Organization. There are nearly 6.3 million probable and 3 million confirmed cases in the country. The South American country counts 82% of the 7.6 million probable cases of dengue recorded in the entire world by the WHO this year. Sadly, it also accounts for 77% of the 3,680 deaths globally from the virus and 82% of the 16,242 cases of severe dengue reported. Thus far, 2024 has seen the most serious dengue outbreak ever recorded in Brazil. According to the Ministry of Health, by the end of May, the number of probable cases was 328%, higher than that recorded in the same period last year, which had already seen a record number of dengue diagnoses. So many pestilences are causing major problems all over the globe right now. In the Democratic Republic of Congo, the number of Mpox cases has surged to an all-time record high, and it is the form of the disease that has a particularly high death rate. The ongoing outbreak of clade I Mpox in the DRC has already claimed many victims. The DRC reports multiple provincial outbreaks occurring between the beginning of 2023 and April 14, 2024, with an estimated total of 19,919 cases and 975 deaths, meaning that about 1 in every 20 patients have died. This outbreak is also perhaps the most widespread. During 2023 and 2024, clade I Mpox cases were reported from 25 of 26 provinces, and for the first time from the capital city of Kinshasa, the CDC team noted. Children are especially vulnerable. According to the report, 2/3, 67% of suspected cases and more than 3/4, 78% of suspected deaths have occurred in persons aged 15 years or younger. If you catch this form of Mpox, you will remember it for the rest of your life, even if you survive, because it will be the worst pain that you have ever experienced. And again, what was some of the other plagues that would be brought during the last days? Behold, saith Yahweh, I will bring plagues upon the world, and there shall be famines and pestilences. This is 2 Esdras chapter 16. I'm going to start at verse 17. Woe is me, woe is me. Who will deliver me in those days? Only Yahweh Bahasham Yahweh Shai will be able to deliver you from these calamities of Jacob's trouble, which are quickly coming upon us. And within that, you have to be an Israelite of that elect number. The beginning of sorrows and great mournings, the beginning of famine and great death, the beginning of wars, and the powers shall stand in fear, the beginning of evils. What shall I do when these evils shall come? And to you sincere Israelites out there who have heard this word and it's resonated in your spirit, hey, just do whatever you can to please Yahweh Bahasham Yahweh Shai. Follow the laws, statutes, and commandments to the best of your ability, and take yourself out of the ways of this world. And we're in that time to where you can't rely on the flesh. You're going to have to rely 144% on the spirit of Yahweh Bahasham Yahweh Shai to get you through these things, and believe that he is, and not fear, what man like Esau can do to you, or the situations you get in. Just know, just as easily as the Most High got you into that situation, is as easily as he can get you out of it if you have that faith. Verse 19, behold, famine and plague, pestilences, tribulation, and anguish are sent as scourges for amendment, scourges for punishment, scourges for judgment from Yahweh Bahasham Yahweh Shai. So that's it with this video. With this video, I hope you sincere Akim and Akwath were edified. Hey, just keep strong, as we can clearly see, and we are almost out of this final wicked captivity of the heathen nations, chiefly of the biblical Edomites. And as always, I'm going to say Abad Babal, Kwam Yasharala, and until next time, Shalom.